Hiya, my name's Lee Workman, and this is my Mk1 Escort with a Cosy YB motor that I've been building for the last 7 years. If you've been watching the series on YouTube, you'll know that already, and I've come to the end of my build, so I'm on the road at last. There's just a final thing, just one more piece of the jigsaw that I need to put on the car to finish it off, and it's a dedication to my dad, Jim. So this is my dad, Jim. This is my favourite picture of my dad, a picture taken of him back in the day when he was a rocker, sat astride his Series 2 Royal Enfield Interceptor. Dad had always been into cars and motorbikes, and they needed to be fast and powerful and loud. And this was certainly a very handsome bike, and back then they were quite special. It's fair to say, without Jim, my dad, I wouldn't be here, obviously for the biblical reason, but because I couldn't help turn out the way I am without my dad. He was well into his cars and motorbikes all through me growing up. And I was forever helping him in the garage. He taught me pretty much everything I knew about spannering on a car, and he was dedicated to doing things properly and doing things right. He had all kinds of cars over the years, and he wasn't afraid to use them either, and he wasn't afraid to modify them. This was Dad's 81 Triumph Spitfire 1500, and the sharp-eyed amongst you will notice, aside from the chrome wires and the full leather interior, those two tailpipes at the back and a GT6 bonnet. It wasn't actually a GT6 engine. He'd stuffed in there a six-cylinder 2.5 litre engine from a Triumph TR6, which he then bored and stroked to 2.7 and had triple Weber 40s on it. And that was a real weapon, and he drove all round France in that with me mum. In fact, he was always tinkering with something weird and wonderful. Here he is under the bonnet. It was a Reliant SS1 sports car. Dad had many classic Fords, including this really rare Crayford Corsair convertible. It was a 2000 GT that he restored from a bare shell, and he wasn't afraid to use it. We drove all over France. This is a picture of me and the rest of the family, my brother Dean and my mum Sue, enjoying the Corsair somewhere in the south of France. Dad started teaching me and my brother about mechanics with motorbikes, and here's me back in 1984, aged about 15, with my dad on his Honda 404. And then later on, I helped him with a Velocette Venom, which is a 400cc single. And then here I am with my brother Dean and my dad and his Harley Davidson. And because of Dad, that's why I got into modifying cars and bikes. And now, sadly, my dad passed away in January 2022. It was sudden, unexpected, and I miss him every single day. One of the real sad things is he never got to see this car finished. He saw me start the project, and he saw all the stuff and all the mods I was doing all the way through. Always encouraged me. I could ring him up, or he'd come down and see us, and we'd talk about things and different ways I was going to do different modifications to the car. And he never got to see it finished. So I wanted to dedicate the build of the car to my dad, Jim. And I wanted to remember him in some way in my car every time I'm driving it. Now, if you watch the last video, you'll see I've got my old wooden Lotus gear knob, which come from my very first car, a Mk1 Cortina. I've kept it all these years, and it was the only choice for the car. I don't care that it doesn't match. It means a lot to me, particularly because it's something that my dad gave me back when I was 17, 1986. But I wanted a tribute to my dad in my car. And I'm fortunate to have lots of really good friends that have helped me all through this build. And I could not name all of them, but certainly at the top of the list is my mate Tim. He's one of my oldest friends. And he's always been around to lend a hand. And he's strong as an ox. And we've been putting the engine in and out together and the gearbox in and out. He's got a car with a tow bar, which I don't have. So he's dragged this thing up and down the country, all the way up north to Todmorden in Yorkshire to get to SD Developments when the bodywork was done, and down to Envirostrip to get it dipped, and then right down south to see Gavin Pink at the paint shop in Hertfordshire. over to Uxbridge to see Simpson Exhaust, to have the exhaust made, back up to Telford, up the M54 to get the interior trimmed on. Tim has been a rock helping me build this car. And in the dry build stages, 3 lads from work who worked in the tool room. Tool room's not there anymore. They've all like far-flung corners of the world. Gordon the turner, Wayne the miller, Paul the welder. Like, right, I had so many bits, little fag packet drawings. I'd go into the tool room. Lads, can you make us this? Lads, can you make us that? Whether it was a spacer or a fancy bracket holding the brake and clutch reservoirs together, whatever it was, nothing was too much trouble for them. They were a big help. And through the build, I met loads of people on the way, as you do when you're on forums and Facebook pages and stuff like that, and you hook up with kindred souls, don't you? And one of those kindred souls was a geezer called Russel Lord. You'll know Russell he's the guy who is a jeweller by trade, a bloody good one, but mostly, like, his heart is into escorts, and he built from scratch a solid silver Mark II Escort called the Rascal, and it was on the papers and in the news. It was, pretty famous. His skill as a jeweller, like, it's amazing, and his skill as a car builder as well. If you've seen some of his cars on his channel, they're something special. But most of all, he's the most down-to-earth bloke you have ever met, and he's a friend, a real good friend of mine. And I was talking to him about my dad, and how I wanted to try and remember him on the car. And we talked about a few ideas, and Russell asked me about my dad, and Dad's lucky number was 13. And whenever he signed a picture, he was quite artistic, or his tools, all his tools were engraved Jim 13. And I remember he used to have a little number 13 in a necklace. And that sort of sticks out in my mind, and it just makes me think of my dad. And I threw all these ideas at Russell, and he goes, "Leave it with me, son." That's what he said. "Leave it with me, son, and I'll come up with something for you." And I agreed to pay for all the materials, and Russell did all the labour and all the design work for free. And this is what he come up with. So a bit of time went by, and Russell rang me up, and he said, "I got something for you, Lee." And he gave me this. It came in a lovely jewellery box, and I opened it up, and he'd made this for me. Let me get it out of the box. So here it is. This is bloody weighty, actually. Russell's carved this out of a solid block of sterling silver. No messing around, and it's all hand carved with my dad's signature and the number 13 necklace that I used to wear. And Russell's attention to detail continues on the back. These studs to mount it, and I'll show you where it's going to go in a minute, are exactly the right thread. It's a weird, I think it's a 2BA, might be a 4BA thread. To mount it on the dash trim, exactly like the standard dash trim mounts are a 4BA thread. So Russell's designed this, and he's designed it with the same theme as the interior in mind. So a black infill with a polished surround, and just like my auxiliary gauges and my dash trim, and it's going to go right here. Now that looks pretty special. So there we go. I think that looks really special. It's special to me. So thanks, Russ. You've done a grand job there, mate, and I appreciate it. And most of all, thanks to my dad, Jim. Like I've said, I couldn't have done this or even thought about it without him. And I like to think he's proud of me and proud of what I've created. I've certainly tried to do it in his kind of style and with his mantras in place. Like, if you're going to do it properly, son. So I've had those words ringing in my ear every time I've picked up a spanner and built this car. It's not going to be the last video. There's plenty more to come. I've got to check it on the dyno. I want to try and get a video of that, and I'll get it out on the road, and we'll get some video of it running. And doubtless it is a classic car, and it certainly is a classic Escort, so there's going to be plenty to do and change. And, as it comes along, I'll capture it and share with you lot. So until next time, thanks very much.